Hi everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Seamus Brady and Luke Peyton. In this video, we are going to be giving a full roundup of all the club action in Gaelic football and indeed in hurling, which went over the last weekend. We're going to start, Luke, with the Mayo football final. History made as Westport claimed the title for the first time ever. That is absolutely unbelievable for a team when you look at the talent that they have, but they have finally broken through that glass ceiling, beating Ballina Stevenage by 1-9 to 1-6. What did you make of this game?
Yeah, very tense game. Not a classic. Probably one you'd expect, I think, from a team that haven't won a county championship before. But just to count on that, like that's remarkable considering the size. Like Westport being the town, like the size of the town of Mayo and everything as well. Like I'd imagine that they'll probably go on and win a few now that they've got over the line the first time as well. They should go on as well with the population that they'll have there as well. The resources they'll probably have. That look, I think that could probably kickstart a few titles to come for Westport now as well, because look, it's a nice big catchment area and everything as well. And yeah, look, I think they just needed to get over the line in that one game. They've some nice players, young players coming through as well. I know Phil McDonagh and Rory Brickenden are probably the younger ones that are leading that team as well. But Keegan was absolutely instrumental again, I suppose. And just for a player like him, it was the only thing that he hasn't. Well, I was going to say the only thing he hasn't won in his
Yeah,
career,
I
obviously,
know, I
except
know.
for Ireland. But no, it was the kind of thing that was really missing for him as well. It was a club title, and obviously the All Ireland as well. But yeah, look, it's great from his perspective to have won that. Like it's because yeah, like probably the best male player. I think he's arguably up there as the best ever male player. You can nearly say, and for him to finally win a club title, look, it's great for him.
Yeah, I was saying, I mean, in the match preview there with Chloe Lynch, I was saying that like just from a fan of Gaelic football, I'd love to see him win one because as a right half back, I think he's absolutely the perfect right half back, has been for the last 10 years. If you're to draw up what a right half back should be, it's Lee Keegan. And I think he's right up there in my mind with James McCarthy and Jack McCaffrey and Tomas O'Shea is the best I've seen on the right half back position. The key moment I think was the Westport penalty, like the absolute carnage around how the goals were so close to each other. Obviously, the Westport penalty, it was touched on the ground by the Ballina defender. I think it was James Doherty. And then Parker Hoare's goal came so quickly after that. Just talk to me about those few moments.
Yeah, look, it was for a game with like uh, kind of low enough scoring as well. It kind of just took off for a few minutes as well, and there was just a lot of chaos around everything, I suppose. And yeah, look, it's not a penalty that you see often with the touching on the ground, kind of inside the six as well. So look, I think look, Ballina they'll obviously be very disappointed. To concede a penalty in that manner, I think is it has to be very frustrating as well because it just never really happens as well and stuff. And look, in a game like that, when it finishes up 3 points in it, very low scoring, 10 scores to 7, I think it was in the end. Like anytime like that, penalties and goals are going to win the game for you, I suppose. And look, that was the winner of the game exactly. Like I know O'Hora goal was such a huge moment too as well. But look, once you ship a penalty as well, very very hard to recover from that, especially in a game like that.
Mm-hmm. And then going forward, obviously Westport now another team into the Connacht Senior Football Club Championship now that are relatively new in these waters. I mean, like I know Westport are completely new in these waters, but if you look at their team, like they do have a really, really strong spine. They've got Paddy O'Malley in goal. They've got Rory Brickenden there at fullback. They've got Lee Keegan. They've got Phil McDonagh. Oisin McLaughlin, who's Owen McLaughlin's brother, has been outstanding throughout the club championship. They've got Kevin Kane there, loads of experience. They got Mark Moore in there, who starred for Mayo in the league back in 2020, if you remember, just after COVID ended. That game where Mayo blitzed Galway. And then they've got obviously Killian Kilkelly, who was outstanding in this game too. I mean, very, very good on the freeze and very good, well taken penalty, slotted it under David Clark. Like going forward now, especially if Owen McLaughlin comes back fit into that team, like are Westport one of the favourites potentially to go even further now?
Yeah, well, look, I think it's like you're saying, Owen McLaughlin's the key there, like that. I think if you add him back into it and with the players that you mentioned as well, that's a serious team. I don't know what the status of his injury is. I don't know when he's expected back, but if they could get him back, like I think it's like it's an absolutely huge addition in there as well. I do think that the teams that win their first championship in a while, they do tend to not probably go on and win the provincials, that they usually tend to kind of slip up. I think if they were to come up against Moycullen, like we're going to talk about Moycullen in a second, but I would probably still be favouring Moycullen at the moment, even though Moycullen haven't been in Connacht for a while. They just seem to, they've won a Galway before. They won Galway in the COVID year. They didn't get to represent Galway that year because of COVID, but they've kind of been at this stage already before, and they're probably saying, I'd say Moycullen are saying that, look, this is our second Galway in kind of quick enough succession. The next challenge for them is Connacht, and I think they might just be a little bit further ahead of them at the moment. But look, I think Westport have to be ahead of the Roscommon champions anyway. And look, Turlestrand have won a fair few Sligos in a row, but they've never done anything in Connacht. And then obviously you'd have them ahead of the Leitrim champions too. So I think it will come down to them, Moycullen, and look, on any given day, if they could get on McLaughlin back and if they perform to their ability, then look, who's to say they can't win Connacht?
Yeah, and then obviously you mentioned about Moycullen. Moving on to the Galway final, of course. Peter Cook strikes a goal with 4 minutes left to win it for Moycullen. It looked like it was going to be Salthill, Knocknacarra's day. No, Peter Cook has otherwise. And now Moycullen, yeah, as you mentioned, they were Galway champions in 2020. This time, they're Galway champions again, but they're going to get to go on and play in Connacht. What did you make of this game? 1-10 it was to Moycullen, 1-9 to Salthill, Knocknacarra. Very true to tradition in the Galway Championship. 1 point separates them once again.
Yeah, and look, I think what was the last reason we ran through some of the fixtures, and that it's the score and difference, I think, between teams throughout the whole thing is that you look back through all the games of the Galway Championship, it's win by a point, win by 2 points, 3 points. It's never much more than one score, and it's just been it's been an absolutely fantastic championship. And you can't deny to Moycullen is that they've had to go about this the hard way, that they had to beat Mount Ballymoylock the last day as well. That was an absolute kind of Titanic game as well, where they have to come out on top of that too. So look, I think nobody can begrudge them as well. Look, it's harsh in Salthill because look, Salthill, they're in position. There are 5 minutes to go. That they're in position to win that game. But yeah, look, I think we were talking already about Westport and how strong their kind of spine is as well. Like you look at the Moycullen team, you've got the 3 Kellys who are all playing like insanely good football at the moment, and then you throw in Peter Cook in there as well, who I think was a bit of a doubt for a while whether he's even going to play the club championship for Moycullen really, and bringing him back in midfield is just a huge addition. And it kind of, I'd say Pork Joyce was looking on the sideline a little bit envious there now that I think for Galway last year, if they could have thrown him in the All-Ireland final, yeah, like they still wouldn't have won the All-Ireland, but it'd be some addition to have back in there as well, for especially in a midfield where Paul Conroy's starting to get on a little bit. He looks to be the natural like successor to that role. So if they could ever try get him back from America, back working in Ireland, I think he'd slot back in straight away.
Oh, big time. Peter Cook would be, he'd definitely at least walk into a position where he'd be coming off the bench at key stages. Like, the fella is an absolute tank. And on top of that, he's a brilliant Gaelic footballer as well. Moving on then to, of course, the Kerry final, the Kerry County final. East Kerry won their third title in 4 years. They beat Mid Kerry by 116 to 10 points. And on the weekend, where he was named Footballer of the Year, David Clifford absolutely backs that up, scoring 1-9 as they go on to win the Kerry title once again in Tralee.
Yeah, it was. Look, it's some of the football that was played by East Kerry was just ridiculous, really. And I think initially in the first half, there was one. I think the second score of the game was that Paddy Clifford gets the ball on the halfway line, and plays an outside the boot on his left into the forward line to Clifford, who comes out, collects it first time, and then swings one over on his right, not even looking at the goal. And you're just looking at that, and I think the writing was on the wall from that point already, that they just look to be that level kind of above. And I suppose some of the football they were playing, Paddy Clifford's close control as well, just his ability to not be turned over, to not be tackled, just he's able to glide through contacts and everything as well. It's just remarkable to watch some of it sometimes. And even the goal as well, he was involved, Paul Murphy was involved, and then David Clifford finishes it into the back of that as well. So like, it's some of the interplay up at the forward line was just really, really good to watch. And yeah, you look at James O'Donoghue up there as well. he had a quiet enough game, I would say, actually, to be honest. But Dara Roach as well had a good game up there too. First half kicked a fair few wides, but eventually settled into it, and then kicked a few scores. I thought Dara Line in midfield was really good too as well. I think he kicked 2 scores, looked really impressive. So yeah, look, it was kind of a bit of an exhibition, I suppose, from East Kerry, but at the same time, strange atmosphere. That no no huge celebrations at the end really, and no kind of no huge celebration from the crowd either too as well. The crowd never really got into the game at the end of the national anthem. It was doing the rounds on Twitter a little bit as well, so that there was no kind of commotion coming from the crowd whatsoever. So like, this is the thing, when two divisional teams in the final, it wasn't the same spectacle as what it could have been if, let's just say, if Dingle were in the final maybe as well against East Kerry or something like that as well. So like, I'm not against divisional sides. It's if it was in a county where you've 32 teams in senior championship, senior A and senior B championship, and then you say to the intermediate and junior players, you can join a divisional team, they're not going to be as star-studded as what we're seeing kind of in Kerry at the moment. I think it's just that because Kerry have so few teams, of only a small group in their senior championship, that we're getting the CD super teams suddenly forming, and now as a result, it's just becoming a divisional competition.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and that was something that I looked at and thought, like, is there going to be that raw passion in the final when you're supporting East Kerry or Mid Kerry and you only have a couple of lads on the team, maybe if you're following them because you have club mates on the team. But that being said, there was some beautiful football played by East Kerry on the day. I think it's a good advertisement as well for maybe a Jack O'Connor, someone who wants to look, maybe find a few new players who can play with the Cliffords, who links up well with them, because he's building a team around them. And then, of course, on top of that, for Mid Kerry, if you're going into that game, I agree with what you said about the second point that Clifford got. If you're going into that game, you need to hope that they're not on it. And that second where he swung that ball over the bar, I was like, right, they're on it. And this is going to spell out trouble for Mid Kerry. And yeah, indeed it did. 1-9 from Clifford, as again, East Kerry are Kerry County champions.
Yeah.
Then
And
moving on from that.
just before we move on to the thing for 1 second, the only other one as well is that for Kerry, I was looking at Mike Breen, centre half back from Mid Kerry. I thought looked really, really good, and that fella that missed all of last year as well. I think he could come straight back into that Kerry team next year and improve them. And he could be a fella that I think to watch out for next year, starting for Kerry, because I think I think he could actually even improve that half back line if he came straight back in there as well. So yeah, I thought he was the big plus for me, Kerry.
Yeah, no, definitely watch this space. Going on then to the Munster Championship, Nemo Rangers pulled off quite a shock, beating St. Finbarrs. A lot of people, pretty much everyone thought Finbarrs were going to win this again. But Nemo Rangers 116, St. Finbarrs 2 goals and 9 points. Nemo Rangers once again are Cork champions. Did you see this coming?
Well, look, no, I didn't. Well, look, I predicted Finbarrs, and I don't know, maybe look, Nemo. It's probably mad to probably been writing off Nemo because look, they've dominated so much for the last couple of years. But I don't know. I think a lot of people maybe have associated Nemo with becoming like a bit of an aging team, and that yeah, like the players that were winning the Cork titles the last few years have kind of moved on a little bit. And but look, no, they were by all accounts they were absolute value for their win anyway as well. And it only really took that they looked comfortable throughout the game, and it only took a late rally from Finbarrs to kind of get a bit of make a bit of a contest of it at the end, because it looked like Nemo were going to pull away in the end. And but look, it's the same players stepping up again. Like Luke Connolly's been like a really, really good club player. That yeah, he's got his chances with Cork a little bit and hasn't fully kind of nailed down a spot really a bit, and he seems that his role's kind of been replaced by Stephen Sherlock with Finbarrs now. But look, he absolutely delivered in the day, and between the two of them as well, their little battle, the two of them, Conley absolutely won that as well. Kicked 1-9, I think maybe it was. Maybe a little less. But
8 points, 5 frees.
8 points. Sorry, yeah, it was Conor Horgan. That's what I'm taking with the goal. Sorry, Conor Horgan kicked 1-3 anyway, and yeah, but they it's some of those players as well. Cronin as well kicked a few scores too, and yeah, look, I think Nemo will be. They've all of a sudden now, from going in kind of probably underdogs in the Cork final now. They'll be going into Munster as the favourites for Munster Championship now.
Well, that is the truth, because if Finbarrs had won this game, pretty much everybody would have been tipping them to go on and win the Munster Championship. So basically, yeah, Nemo Rangers ball is in your court. Can you do what everybody would have tipped St. Finbarrs to do? And when you look at the spine that they have a very, very strong defence. They've obviously got Micheál Martin in goal, who's Cork's goalkeeper. And I actually really rate Micheál Martin as a goalkeeper. I think he's brilliant. In the defence, obviously, they've got Kieran Histon, who plays for Cork. Then they've got Alan O'Donovan in midfield, who's someone that I've been kind of touting that I think he should get a shot in the Cork senior team. And then the forwards, obviously, they got Luke Connolly, they've got Barry O'Driscoll, they've got Mark Crown, and Barry O'Driscoll, loads of Cork experience as well. And then Paul Kerrigan coming off the bench, still doing the business, even though he's been retired now for 3-4 years. So, I mean, for Nemo, they've got a very strong squad. And I think if people were tipping Finbarrs to win Munster, I think Nemo should be right up there as favourites.
Yeah, well, look, and I can't really see who's going to stop them in Munster, to be honest, at the moment. Maybe are you looking at Éire Óg and Clare? I don't know. Kerry, the Kerry champions.
Cairns Rattleys from Kerry. That could be a decent game. And then obviously Clonmel Commercials came out of Tipperary.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that when you're looking at the Kerry Championship as well, is that it'll be a team representing Kerry that have already lost a fair few games in the club championship. So will you be back them? I'm not fully sure. Based off that, Clonmel always kind of seem to be giving a good old kind of run as well, and Ulster sometimes too. So they'd be good shout, but I don't you wouldn't be tipping kind of anyone else really, I suppose, in Munster. And I think barring a bit of a shock, I do think that Nemo will probably be the team now that are going to be representing Munster, I suppose, when we get to the All-Ireland series.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Moving away from Munster, then moving up to Ulster. Errigal Ciarán won their first title in 10 years. 2 goals and 11 points to Carrickmore's a goal and 12. So there was no fairy tale of Carrickmore completing an 11th winner in 11 seasons, but Errigal Ciarán, first title in 10 years. What a day for them. Yeah,
definitely. And it's only when you kind of you look through it a bit, and it's you're looking at the team as well. And I know we've been talking about competitive Tyrone is and everything, but that team actually has the makings of a team that could probably put an end to this new champion every year, because how young they are, the talent that's in that team as well.
The Connor Quinn, the Canavan brothers, that's scary.
And Peter Hart, and Peter Hart in midfield as well. Padraig McCartan's been a great, I think he was an under-21 All-Ireland win captain and stuff as well. Just throwing there. Joe Guz up in the corner forward spot, hit 1-1. He's been floating in around underage panels as well. So I think they could, if they keep their heads together now, that could be making of a team that starts having a bit of a dynasty up in Tyrone, because that's a really, really good side, and they got the monkey off their back now nice and early, that they've won their county title here now while the Canavans are still young, and they've the potential to go all the way as well. I think the three Canavans were absolutely brilliant today as well. Dara obviously top scorer, and Rory kicked 2. And then the third Canavan playing kind of a quarterback role, I suppose, from the half back line. He absolutely controlled the tempo and everything as well. So they look full value for their win, and based off those players in there as well, just a really good solid side, and that another really strong team going into Ulster, I think, isn't it? And we were kind of saying last week that we weren't putting them in the same tier as the big three, I suppose, up in Ulster, but maybe this year might be a little bit too soon for them as well. But I do think that they've the makings of a good side that could, if they stick together and everything as well, could get to a stage where they can compete for Ulster titles.
Yeah, no, definitely. But they're going to be going in straight away against Waddy Graham's Glen, so that is going to be one hell of a battle. I mean, this is where I tip their run to end, just because of how good I rate the Glen. I think the Glen are genuine contenders for the All-Ireland. I'm really tipping them to go far this year. Moving on then to, of course, a roundup of the other 3 finals, which happened over the weekend in Clare. Éire Óg Ennis beat Ennistimon by 9 points to 6. The Waterford senior football final, the Nire beat Rathgormack by 10 points to 8. And in Fermanagh, Enniskillen Gaels beat Éire Gaels by 3-12 to 10 points. Any of those teams kind of catching your eye for potential upsets? I think Fermanagh, definitely, I can see Enniskillen Gaels putting it up to a Waddy Graham's Glen or to a Kilcoo. But in Munster, like the way that the Finbarrs are gone, Cairns or Atleys are coming off the back of having been beaten already a couple of times in the Kerry County Championship, even though they did win the club one. I mean, like for Éire Óg, is there a potential to kind of cause a shock? Maybe more so than the Nire, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think Éire Óg's a good shout from that. Like I do think that yeah, they've had a very good championship this year as well. Nearly did the double as well. There's something about the team at the moment that there's a bit of feel good factor off them as well. Like I don't think they'll win Munster now, but I do think that they can cause a shock in the day as well. Clare football's gone to the right direction as well. And especially in Ennis, football's really taken off there too. So yeah, I think that's a good shout. I'd be a bit more generous to Enniskillen Gaels in that I do think, look, they've been in Ulster before. They've so much experience in Ulster. They've been winning Fermanagh's a fair bit as well. That I don't think, again, it's another team that you wouldn't want to play, to be honest. And like you look at some of the teams that have got through in the other provinces as well, and you're thinking, yeah, like they won their county title. They're a nice team as well and stuff. But the big teams wouldn't fear them. But I do think if you have to go to Enniskillen to play them as well, you're not going to enjoy going there to play them, and you're going to get a proper game as well. So yeah, like I completely agree that I'd be amazed if they got to a final, but I still think that they have something about them anyway as well. And that, look, I do think that yeah, it's going to just be another strong side in Ulster that are going to be well organised, defensively set up well, and look, when you have to go and play them as well on a kind of tough pitch up there as well, winter conditions as well, anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, it'd definitely be a tough game to get through. Switching it up then entirely and moving to the hurling action, which of course took place over the weekend. Kilruane MacDonagh's end a 37-year wait to become Tipperary senior hurling champions. Cian Darcy fires 2 goals as they come back to beat their neighbours Killadanga by 220 to 116. What a day for Kilruane MacDonagh's, ending the Barron spell.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, is that I think last week we were kind of said that you'd nearly be more inclined to go with experience. Kildangan kind of have been there and got over the line before. So look, for Kilruane to I suppose to get over the line as well. Look, it's great. It's great for them as well. And look, it's great to see a new team, I suppose, in Tipperary. That look, we've Thurles have been dominating for years, and that it's been kind of predictable and stuff a little bit for a while that it's the same teams battling it out, I suppose. So look, it was a really good championship, I think, in Tip this year. Very, very hard to know kind of who was going to who's going to come out on top. And look, I think first of all, just to mention, that image was kind of circulating around social media afterwards of Kilruane in the circle in the pitch where Dylan Quirk passed, with lifting his red helmet as well up in the air. So like that was a really touching kind of moment, I think, as well. And I think it's important that when we talk about the Tipperary Championship this year, that we remember that Dylan Quirk passed during this championship as well, and that
he would have had a huge impact on the game.
And as much as kind of it's important to everything as well, where with sport and everything as well, is that like for a young fella that was such a household name and everything as well, and to have passed during a game as well, it's really nice as well at the end of the game to have seen them to be all kind of together as well, lifting the helmet as well from Sue. So like it's I just thought that was a fantastic gesture, I suppose, from Kilruane. And I suppose everyone in Clonulty, Rossmore as well, really appreciates that too.
Oh yeah, that was a beautiful moment when they did that. I mean, paying homage to what already has been an outstanding hurler for Tipperary, but he would have gone on to do so much. So yeah, continue resting in peace, Dylan. Anyway, that ends our chat about, obviously, but actually before we say, we have to talk about the halftime. What was said in the dressing room for Kilruane. They hit 2-13 in the second half to Killadangan 7 points after being behind by 5 at halftime. I mean, like, to be a fly in the wall in the dressing room to see what the hell was said in the dressing room at halftime. I mean, the way they came out with a fire under them for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And but like, and you look at the team though as well. There's so much kind of youth and energy in that team as well and stuff. Like, I just think they're epitomised by Jerome Cahill. I just think every time I watch him, I'm amazed by him. I think that he's like it's an absolute crime that he's not playing inter-county hurling. And yeah, like I know Keane Darcy was the match winner yesterday as well, but and then like Willie Cleary as well knocked over all the points as well. But I just think Jerome Cahill is just potential to be an absolute superstar as well. And I'd be such a shame if he's not involved with Tip next year. So I hope that he is, and I hope that just for the sake of kind of neutrals, even at home as well, that he's involved because look, he just looks a fantastic player. And Niall O'Mara, I really hope he comes back to Tip as well because look, he's just had a fantastic club championship in there as well. In that centre half back role as well. Look, if Tip could try slot him back into their half back line as well, their half back line struggled a little bit last year. I think they could, if they could try get him back as well, they could definitely compete more in Munster. And look, well, what we want to see going into like now is that Munster is more competitive as well, and we don't want to be seeing kind of Tipperary sliding a little bit as well. We want to see Waterford back playing as well. So I really hope all these players are back as well because there's some serious talent on that Kilruane side that can come into it straight away, I think. And yeah, the exciting for them going forward as well in Munster that to see how they get on. Look, they're obviously going to be behind Na Piarsaigh and Ballygunner in the pecking order. But when it comes up, them, Ballyea, Finbars will all probably be on, I'd say, a similar kind of standing, and they should all be looking at each other, thinking that they're on kind of the same level as each other, I think, as well. So it'll make for an interesting enough contest.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Piarsaigh there. They're another shark that are now swimming in the Munster Senior Club Hurling Championship. They swept aside last year's champions Kilmallock by 323 to 215. I mean, me and you were saying about them last year that look, they have all the talent, but by God, this year they got it right, cruising to the Limerick title.
Yeah, and look, I don't know. I think I might put my neck in the line here a little bit and say that I just think they're ahead of Ballygunner this year, and they just seem to have they've everything's kind of slotting back into place. That everyone's fit now all of a sudden. That they've got all their players back, and they just look kind of they just look very strong and they look hungry. They look really really hungry, and that was the big thing as well. Was that in the first half when the game was kind of there to be won, they took the goals. That I think look the first goal for Adrian Breen scored as well, the ball kind of spilled on the 21-yard line, and Connor Boylan came out with a ball that he'd absolutely no right to win. He got in, put the hurl up as well, straight to the hand, and then the hand pass to Brain back to net. Like, and they looked really, really hungry. It was good, high quality first half in particular as well. I thought the intensity was really good, tackling was really strong. It was the classic Limerick games, I suppose, as well, where midfield was just a shark bit kind of where everybody was just, and if you're on the ball kind of for longer than 2 or 3 seconds you're going to get tackled. So yeah, look, it was a good first half, and then look, the Piercing's class completely showed in the second half as well, that they just pulled away. The big game players as well all showed up. Peter Casey, 7 points from play, I think it was, that which is like
That's unbelievable.
yeah,
That's absolutely insane.
it's when you see these intercounty players come back and play for the clubs as well and stuff, and that you see just casually scoring 7 points from playing a county title against against a
Last
team
year's
that were
champions. Yeah,
last year's champions and a Munster finalist from last year as well and stuff. So just that kind of ability to do that is crazy. And Adrian Breen as well. Look, he still looks every bit an intercounty player. I know he wasn't involved last year, but he was a player that got on the All Ireland final 2 years ago. I think. You'd wonder. I know he's 30 years of age now, but he might be back up involved with John Kiley because like that he was unplayable again yesterday. And but if they can keep the two of them fit anyway as well, you've got Will Henn, I suppose, kind of in there as well. If you let the two lads, the two kind of smaller corner forwards, play off him as well, that full forward line's nearly unstoppable. So yeah, really, really kind of intimidating, I suppose, for the rest of the teams in Munster. And then like you just factor in Connor Boyle and Will O'Donoghue, Mike Casey. It's
Kevin Downs.
yeah, Kevin Downs as
Yeah.
well. Kevin Downs is hitting frees everywhere as well, just not missing at the moment as well.
But
McAvoy at
that's
centre.
the thing. Like teams are getting punished for fouling them as well because Kevin Downs is nailing every single free that's being taken. And then if you let them shoot from play, I mean, they're rarely missing. To hit 23 points in a county final is absolutely outstanding, especially at this time of year with the conditions. Like they're definitely a team to watch. I can't wait to see them. Hopefully they play
And
Ballygunner because that would be one hell of a clash.
Yeah, and the scariest part, I think, about that is that they did that without Jerome Boylan, who's their best man marker as well. So, like, Jerome Boylan pulled out just before the start of the game. They had to make a leg change in there as well. So, like, they know going forward, if they have to play a Ballygunner, they can put Jerome Boylan on Desi Hutchinson as well, and you can keep Mike Casey in the full back as well. And that they just seem to have kind of the pieces to match up as well. And that, look, it doesn't matter who they're playing, they're going to be scoring. Like, nobody's going to stop them scoring. So, I I will put my neck in the line a little bit now, and I'll have them as my favourites for Munster right now.
Well, like, not that I'm fully agreeing with you, but after that game, like, I'm looking more nervously at Ballygunner. I would have been a lot more confident that they would have got out of Munster before this game, but just the way that Na Piarsaigh swept Kilmallock aside, it was Ballygunner-esque last season. This is a similar way that Ballygunner beat Kilmallock in the Munster final last year. Na Piarsaigh have done it in a similar way this time. So that tells me that they're going to give Ballygunner one hell of a game. And could Ballygunner have that same kind of, oh, we finally got up to the top of the mountain attitude, and maybe they're a little bit less hungry this year than they were last year, and just Na Piarsaigh, hunger-wise, they definitely got it. So, yeah, watch this space. That could be one hell of a game. So, guys, that is the full roundup of all the GAA and hurling action which took place over the weekend in the club championships. We hope you enjoyed. Until next one, take care.